everybody, this is Joni Segarra of Vintage Tide Decor. I'm a Dixie Belle brand ambassador. I am here actually in my mother's house. Why am I in my mom's house? Well, one, because she's away. Two, because you won't be hearing any barking dogs or boys running around. And three, I get to visit my girl Sugar here. This is Sugar. Sugar is one of many things that I have painted that my mom has guilted me into giving to her. So I get to visit Sugar, I get to talk to you guys in peace, and I get to show you how to do one of my favorite easy techniques to do. It's dry brushing. I'm going to do a multi-colored, very rustic looking dry brushing. And so let's just hop right into it. The first thing that I did was I prepped my piece, cleaned it really good. I like to use TSP, use gloves. And then after that, I put on some deglosser, sander and deglosser. It comes in a jar about this big. And you can get it at Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, wherever your hardware stores are. And you put it on a rag, you put it all over, you wait 15 minutes, and then you wash that off, and then you're good to go. It gives you a nice, takes off the sheen and gives you some tooth so that your paint can stick nicely to it. And what I did was I quickly brushed on a layer of burlap, and I did a pretty heavy coat, but I didn't do it perfectly. I left some of the original wood to shine through, which I'm gonna want to see later because I want this to look real rustic and everything. So let's just jump right in. The next color that I'm going to use is called drop cloth. So I'm going to get some of that. Let me grab it. Here it is, drop cloth. And I'm going to pour it into a bowl. And we're going to use a super dry brush. So what does that mean? That means if you just cleaned your brush, you are going to, I'm just putting some in the bowl right now. You're going to take a paper towel and you are going to rub that brush until there is absolutely no more moisture in it. And then once that's dry, you're gonna rub the brush again just to make sure, because when you have a good brush with lots of bristles, it stays really wet inside for a very long time. All right, so I'm just gonna situate the camera so you can see better. Okay, everybody, what happened here and why you're seeing me in a different spot and with the furniture looking like it's almost done? Well, the reason for that was when I went to edit the clips that I did, it turns out that the first portion of dry brushing is completely MIA. So I am going to have to redo that. And the way that I'm going to do it is I am going to show you the first part of the process on this board. I painted it in burlap, just like I did the piece of furniture originally, and you saw me talking in front of it. And now what you do is you take a brush, and it's going to be a super dry brush. And not only is it dry, you dip the tip of it into the paint. In this case, like I said, I'm dipping it into drop cloth. It's a little bit lighter version than the burlap. And then you take it and you take as much off as you possibly can with a dry paper towel. All right? And you might even swear that there's absolutely nothing left. Okay? And what I did is I started from the top of this piece of furniture. I'm going to get that out of your way. Sorry. I worked it all over this piece of furniture to about here, okay? I did a dry brushing to about right there. But your pieces are gonna be different, so you can do whatever you want with this technique. So I started from the top, and you kind of feather just down like that. You work in one direction, and you see how that is? And then once there's really no more paint on there, you go back in and you start the process again where you dip a little bit of paint, you dry it off, and what you can do is you can always, it's much easier to start light and adding to it than it is to add too much. All right, so see, I can add more if I wanted to the same spot, and that's about as much as I did. All right, where this heavier part is no more than that. And what this does is, I know it's hard to see. I use these LED lights like a lot of other people do, and yeah, it helps you guys to see parts of the video better, but it makes your furniture look a lot flatter. So if you're looking at my piece and versus the photograph that you may have seen of the piece finished, you might think that filters were used or something, and that's not the case. These lights really they help to like take away wrinkles, although it's hard to see this mug right here. But what takes away the wrinkles also takes away texture and cool things in furniture. So keep that in mind while you watch some of the tutorials. But I don't know if you can see that you can still see nicely the color underneath there. All right, so that's what I did for part one of dry brushing. And this color right here is another color on top of it, but it looks like this. I also did some distressing later, as you will see. So, and this color has a little bit of yellow on top of that white. So again, not white, but drop cloth. So I did drop cloth everywhere. In fact, when I worked on these sections, I did it in this direction, but then I worked in this direction here, probably that direction here. But with each section, I work in the same direction. Okay, you don't want to go like that. Unless you're looking for like cool striations or something, but that's not the look that I was going for. All right, and in the next little clip, I will start to do the blue, and you'll start to understand it a little bit better. So sorry about that. All right, so now we're going to do the exact same thing using sea glass or whatever color you choose. And by the way, if your first layer is going to be a light one and your piece is dark wood, I highly, highly, highly suggest you using Dixie Belle's Boss. It is a wonderful primer, but more importantly, it traps in what are called tannins in the wood. And what happens is you use white or something very, very light on a piece. Then you go ahead, you think it looks beautiful, so you top coat it. Well, these tannins, which are the dark parts of the wood, the particles, they start to come through, and then it has this yellow, weird, bizarre tint. A lot of times people blame it on the top coat, when in fact it's really the tannins of the wood pulling through. So you want to avoid that. And I will tell you that Boss is cheaper than Therapy, because you will need it, because it is really, really, really frustrating when that happens, and it takes a lot of work to fix it. So do yourself a favor, get yourself some boss. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the same thing with this sea glass. It's a very pretty greenish blue. And we're lightly going to blend, and we're gonna move up into the white area, but we're staying kind of in the middle for now. Why? I don't know, I just wing things, that's why. You could go all the way down to the bottom, you could go all the way to the top. You can do whatever you want to do. You can use whatever colors you want. It doesn't matter. So, we're gonna, it's like a very light feathering. You do see, real fast. I don't think it's showing up for you guys as cool as it's showing up for me. But any of you guys that paint, that use an iPhone 8 probably feel my pain. I just recently bought myself, for my birthday coming up, I got a good camera, and I'm waiting on it to come. A little combo birthday Christmas gift to myself. And I'm hoping that the camera does a better job capturing colors than the iPhone does. My mom's iPhone 6 works way better for colors than the iPhone 8, I find. See how that's kind of blending nicely? And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do that to all the sides. Okay, so now I've got the blue in the center, and we're going to go ahead. I got some chocolate, and put it in another bowl. I still have the same brush. I'm making sure there's nothing on there. This time I'm not even using the paper towel, I'm using the drop cloth, like an actual drop cloth, not drop cloth with color. And to make sure all the paint is taken off of there. And what I'm gonna do with this chocolate is I'm gonna try to dirty up the bottom of the piece. And by the way, if you guys are digging this, I love the flannels that Elsie Lane Boutique makes. I'll put her, my girl Debbie's link, and you guys can check out her Facebook page and message her about her flannels. Messenger her. You can look for her on Messenger and Facebook and talk to her about her flannels. Let me tell you, she makes the coolest ones. This one is, I love it, but it's plain. But she makes these awesome ones that have, she uses these huge stencils to stencil really neat things, angel wings on the back, different old rustic cars, so cool. Then she bleaches them through the stain, through the stencil. Oh my gosh. Anyhow, so what I'm gonna do, I'm going in with the brown. And now I'm flicking up. And then dirty up the bottom. Dirty, dirty, dirty. I'm gonna bring it into the blue. Need to get a little bit more. More feathering. Bringing it all the way up. Going into the blue. how dry it is. It's like a chalkboard. Not that that chalkboard has ever made that noise before, but you catch my drift. You hear what I'm spraying. You're picking up what I'm putting down. See, it's getting all dirty. Dirty on the bottom. This is so super easy. As long as you make sure this brush barely is super dry, and then barely any paint on it. Sometimes you swear there's no paint at all. And you know, there usually always is plenty. And it's okay if there's not. You just keep adding a little bit. Oh, people, I'm liking how this looks. Super simple. It's such an awesome, easy technique. If you like old rustic stuff. And we're gonna dirty this bad boy up. So we're not done. And yes, some of the spots are going to have more paint than others. That's going to make it look even better, I think. I'm going to step back a little bit. Yes, ma'am. Or yes, mister. Whoever's watching. Get a little bit there, a little bit there. Touch a little bit on the sides real quick. I know that you can't see the color, but watch the feathering. It's like if you're playing around, like trying to annoy somebody, maybe with a rag, and you just want to flap it in their face. I don't think I've ever done that before in my life, so why I pulled that out of my backside, but you're just barely hitting it. And you can work it up. Like a little French maid, and you're dusting. You know how we do, us ladies. Wear a cute little French maid, little outfits while we dust. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely do that. I think I might do that in my husband's dreams. Is the only place I would do that. Geez, he probably will just dream that I would dust. He won't care if it's in this flannel. So we just keep going, and we dirty up the piece as we go. So we just work our way up top, blending into the blue. funny, it looks way darker on the bottom on the phone than it really is. Well, not way darker, but definitely darker than it is in real life. So we're gonna now, this is a little bit darker here than I'd like, and I could do one of two things. I could rub it back with a dry paper towel, or I could just dry off all of the brown, which I did, and put a little bit more blue on there. See? All done. Well, all done with that section. Not done with the piece, not done with the piece at all. I do think it's looking pretty cool compared to what it looked like when we first started. And it's so easy. It really is. See? You just feather real lightly. Poo, 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 poo. So I know you can't see the paint coming off, but this is a good angle to see how much I'm feathering. All right? Okay, everybody, so what I did next is I got myself a little flat artist brush. I put into a paper bowl about 10 parts Rebel Yellow and just 1 part, very, very small amount of the chocolate. Because I want to add a little bit of yellow, but I want it to be like a dirty yellow, not a bright yellow. This is kind of dirty and old. And we're going to dry brush, but with this small artist brush. So let me get my paper towel, and we're going to take off almost all of the paint. And what I'm gonna just add touches of this yellow by fanning it right on top of that white. Can you see that? Maybe you'll be able to see it better in the middle portion. It just adds a little bit of touch of love. A little love. Everybody needs a little love. And I'm doing crisscross here. As long as it's blended, you can't really see. And this is a very light wisping of the brush. See that there? I like it. Not sure if you do, but I do. Oh, I do. down a little bit more. Actually, maybe just have the white on the very top. Yeah, I'm gonna blend it into the blue. So I'm going to keep the yellow in here. Now, of course, you're probably not going to find a piece that looks like this, but just to show you all the different types of ways you can dry brush to get the colors to look like they were blended without any water. And it has a much, much more rustic feel than your typical blending with water. I prefer it for a rustic feel. But that is just me. So you just need options, right? Options are good. Techniques are great. You need to know as many techniques as you can, and then you can just whip them out without thinking about it. Now, I don't know if this is picking up the cool depth to all of this. Oh, I'm not sure what that was. I don't know. Okay, so I probably overdid it a tad with the yellow right here. So I'm going to get a little bit of the lighter drop cloth and just blend that in. Dry brush that on too. Adds a nice depth. Okay, I'm going to bring you guys close real quick so you guys can see what's going on right now. All right, so now we have the 4 main colors on there. I think it looks pretty cool, but to make it look even cooler, we need to have these colors pop. When you use a dark color, it puts things into the background and it makes the other colors pop, okay? So what you want to avoid is you don't want to put a dark color, such a dark color on there with the lighter color around it, because then that would go away. You wouldn't see that cool little square, right? So in order to make these things pop a little more, the moldings look a little bit more interesting, I like to go in and put a dark color, making these stand out. Most people go ahead and they put a top coat on, and then they go in with a dark glaze, or they go in with a dark wax, and both of those things are excellent. I want to show you just another way of doing it, just in case you're out of black wax or black or darker glaze. What you can do is I got caviar in here, it's just a little bit of black paint and an artist brush. I'm going to dry brush in those same areas that normally you would put some glaze on, or the black wax. You can also do this if you have a little bit of even the cheap black acrylic. Now, it's not my favorite way of doing it, but in a pinch, so that's why I'm just showing you. I don't know if anyone's ever showed you this before. All right, so we're going to put a little bit of black on there. We're going to start in the corners. Not really corner, more like crevices. All right, and We start off lighter and then we get darker and darker until we're very comfortable with how. Can you see already how it's making that pop? Probably not. I hope you can. How do we like that? I'm thinking it looks better already. Yep. And we go around. Let me turn that a little bit for you. See? See how much better that's looking already? So don't go freaking out that you forgot your black wax or your black glaze. As long as you have black paint, I wouldn't suggest oil paint. Nope. Water-based something or another. I love how that's looking. I think it looks a lot better. And you can put a little bit along whatever edges you would like. You can even add a little bit, this doesn't even have to be dry brush, you can add a little bit of water to your paintbrush. In that case though, make sure you have a clean paper towel with water so you can rub it in. I'm gonna just use my fingers. I don't really care that it got on the side, no. Just stressing. How's that popping? How's it popping, playa? I probably made every kid out there want to barf, like this middle-aged woman saying dumb things. Now I'm just going to do it lightly around these edges. Feather it in. See how that's popping out? Step back a little bit. Now, this corner might be a little tad too, or this edge right here might be slightly too dark. So you can just go in with a paper towel and remove some of that. Doesn't really look lighter for you guys, but it does for me. All right, and so we're gonna just feather that in. And you know what? There's like a little dark spot, but I don't care. This is like a dirty, I'm trying to make this thing look dirty. And old. You can even do some black around the bottom, just around some of the edges. So that's where things definitely get dirty, right? The most is the edges on the bottoms. Like our baseboards need to be cleaned more on the edges. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this to all of the sides. I'll do this one for you. Let me get you in a little closer. It would be great if I could see myself. How about I just pull you in? Oh, here we go. There we go. I'm gonna blend that a little bit better, but you can do it with anything. You can blend it with your fingers. You can blend it with another dry paintbrush. You could blend it with a lot. So there we go. You're getting in there. Moving that dry brush up and down. We're looking for dirty. Old and dirty. Kind of like Madonna. That's what we're going for. Going for Madonna. We got that already. Maybe get a little bit darker in there. There we go. Now I'm going to do here. So for these very shallow indentations, it's not very deep. That's why you need a flat brush to get in there. You don't want a round brush. Gotta meet the little edges. And you just go like that. And you go like that. we've got those two down. I'm gonna do this other side and I'll be back. Okay, everybody, I am back. I finished with the black. For the most part, I think I might have to go back and do some little touch-ups here and there as I go around the piece. But what I have found that I am not loving, I love this color blue, but I don't love how it just comes in right down the middle. So I'm going to go back to this brush that I was dry brushing with, and I'm gonna blend the blue a little bit further down and maybe a tiny bit up in random spots. It's too symmetrical for a crazy person like myself. So I'm gonna start here. Pull the color down. I like that a lot better. You're probably thinking, girl, there ain't no difference. And that's okay, you can think that, but I see it. I'm gonna go a little bit up, go up in there. All gonna make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. I'm gonna go up in here, do a little of that. Yeah, a little bit of blending. I'm gonna go a little bit up, more up the sides maybe. All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go up and down into that brown. Downtown doo-doo brown. So I'm glad that I didn't really like the blue, because now I can show you that, you know, you can't really mess up. You can just keep going ahead and doing the dry brush, blending the colors together until you're happy with it. If you go too far down in the brown, you could put more brown on the brush. Very hard to mess this look up. I'll have like a little bit of blue up on top. Why not? Have a little bit poking in through the white. Get a little crazy. That would be just crazy. Putting the blue up in the white like that. We have one more section here. We're bringing it down. Downtown doo-doo brown. One of these lights, every time I look up, totally blinds me. I don't need help in that department. Step back. Yes, ma'am, mister. I'm liking it, I'm liking it. Okay, on this side, you can't really see it, but I forgot to do the yellow. So what does that mean? I just dry off the blue and I put some yellow on there. We go about our merry little business. Well, we blended in the side. That's all we have to do. And I may have not have done yellow on the other side either. I need it. It looks pretty that way. Maybe put a little yellow up there. Isn't that crazy? Oh my goodness. The girl has lost. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of wet distressing. And I'm going to wet distress around the corners. I don't want to work too much in the middle of these things, because with the wet, like I said before, if you had a wet cloth, you could start to blend the colors as opposed to having the dry brush with a whole lot of more depth to it, which you may or may not be able to see on this camera right now. So I got a nice wet paper towel. There we have it. Just taking off, trying to show. I just scratched that with my fingernail. Pushing nice and hard to get that off. All right, so we can go around. Chipping off of this paint. And I'm going to work it and get it all chippy. I will be back. All right, so I wanted to show you what I was doing. You can go ahead and you can leave the piece the way that it was before, but I'm lucky enough to live near the beach, live in a little beach community that I love, and I also love very, very chippy and worn furniture. So, because the paint has not cured, it hasn't been on here for very long, I can take a wet paper towel and some elbow grease, and it will actually start to peel off these layers. It will not be easy to do tomorrow if I waited. All right, so I'm going to go around and I am going to start rubbing this back to make it look really nice and worn. That may be a little bit too much for you guys. So that's the beauty of it. You can have it look a lot less distressed or super distressed. The other way that you could do it is you could take a putty knife and you could try to scratch off the paint that way. I like trying to get it with a wet cloth before it cures, because it is more controllable, really. At least I think so. I could be wrong. Now I'm gonna start to see what this looks like if I just chipped off some of the paint. And then once this cures and I put a top coat on it, not cures, but like really, really dries. Tomorrow I'm gonna go ahead and put a top coat on it. I might wax it. Or I might use some Dixie Belle, maybe satin, maybe flat top coat. I'm not sure yet. See, and it starts to peel off. But don't worry, don't think that Dixie Belle doesn't stick well. This is just because the paint has not been on here very long at all. If it had trouble peeling off when I was doing the dry brushing, it would have done that already. So you will not have this trouble waiting for this to dry for a while before putting the top coat on. In fact, it's not trouble at all. It's what I want. Oh, let me get you turned down just a tad. And you just work it. Got that with my thumb. All right, so you get the idea. So you can go around and you get this bad boy all chippy and beautiful. Or you don't have to have it chippy. You could just have it beautiful. Ha-ha. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned a little something. If you liked watching, please share this video. Please like my page. It's Vintage Tide Decor on Facebook. And also, I have my own painting group, Painting in the Raw. And if you would like to check that out as well, I give numerous tutorials and info about art. I've been a professional artist for 18 years now. So I have a few tricks up my sleeve that I really love sharing. So once again, that is Painting in the Raw on Facebook. It is the best deal out there. It's $1 a day, and at least it is at the filming of this video.
Summer quickly faded, and all the stars had turned to stone. Out in the woods we waited, 'cause anywhere with you I knew I was home. You were all I wanted to see.